Remember back in the day when you had to essentially sell your worthless soul just to get a Walmart exclusive action figure? Well, I think those days are over. And I was looking through some of the pre-orders for the most recent Walmart convention, and I've often said like this whole convention situation where it's like an exclusive retailer. They do the same thing with Target. They have like a little Target con event. They feel a little bit disingenuine, and they try to like sprinkle on as many different manufacturers as they possibly can. They'll have, depending on whether it's NECA or Walmart, but they'll have, at the moment they have like NECA, Super 7, Mattel, McFarlane, Hasbro, and a few other manufacturers thrown in there. And for the most part, back in the day, I'm talking like a few years ago, maybe pre-pandemic or right after the pandemic, for years, whenever there was an exclusive action figure that was only going to one retailer, usually these figures would sell out, even if they weren't like marquee characters, which like 99% of the time they were, but they would sell out just because of, scalpers or action figure flippers, or potentially, a lot of people that didn't want to miss out on something. They felt the FOMO and they would pick up figures even if they weren't really that interested in that particular character or that version of the character. And in other cases, there were just people picking up multiples because they were just, really big rabid fans, and they were probably going to keep some in package and then display others. But as I said, times have changed and we're not seeing that at all, especially more consistently nowadays with the Black Series line and a little bit with Hasbro now. As of the moment of this recording, and we are talking about the 14th, it's roughly like 9 or 10 p.m. The first day of the Walmart con was about like a day and a half ago, and then the second day was roughly, I don't know, like 10 hours ago or 12 hours by this time. So you would assume that most of the heavy hitters, being McFarlane, Hasbro, and Mattel, have sold out most of their action figures, and in some cases they have. I think like the Spider-Man 77 took about a day to sell out, and then the Spirit Spider is still available, which is essentially a PlayStation Spider-Man skin. It's based solely in the video game. I think there were some iterations of Spider-Man, like in that Ghost Spider design in the comic books, but just to reiterate, this is based solely in the video game. And then we did have the Kit Fisto action figure, as well as R2-D2, and then Count Dooku in that beautiful bubble packaging that is very reminiscent of that wave that we got way back in the day for episode 3. It's essentially the one that they used for the 3 3/4 scale, but just scaled up to a 6-inch action figure. I believe the same exact situation happened with Cody. Now, I haven't checked that particular figure. That was also a Walmart exclusive, and that one also, I think I checked it maybe like 3 weeks after the actual reveal or the opening of the pre-order window, and that figure was still widely available. So, and by the way, and we can even push it back to the Walmart exclusive retro carded Venom, which I know was a ton of reuse. There were some, minor little upgrades here and there, but for the most part, that figure also sat on digital store shelves, I would say, for like 2 to 3 weeks. So it's an absolutely crazy time to be a collector. As I said, as of the moment of this recording, I think like the Azrael Batman action figure, that Nightfall exclusive one from McFarlane, has sold out. The Spider-Man 77 sold out, but also that took almost an entire day to sell out. Aside from that, I think like maybe a John Cena figure from Mattel, and then a few other NECA offerings. But that's about it. I mean, all of the Black Series Walmart exclusive action figures, as of the moment of this recording, are still available. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try to be an expert on, Star Wars and, body molds and different accessories, but I'm just going to, like, off the top of my head, I know the Cody is on that new 2023 clone body, as well as the newer 501 Trooper. Or it might not be a 501 Trooper. I think they're referring to it as the Special Op Trooper. That one is also, I believe, on that 2023 body. So those are, I guess, minor upgrades over the originals. I know that newer body mold is like hailed and is considered one of the best, upgrades for the Black Series line. But I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that maybe the Count Dooku has some upgrades here and there, but for the most part, I'm going to assume that it's just a repackaging. And then the R2-D2, I think we've already seen that particular body mold or that tech on the R2D2. Now, what's the most interesting part about this, and this is, I think, one of the big major concerns moving forward for Hasbro, because even though, on this channel, we mostly just talk about the Marvel Legends line, I think what's happening with the Hasbro Black Series line is also very important. I think it's going to start bleeding into just Hasbro in general, because, first of all, the source material is not very good right now. Like episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, is one of my favorites. Star Wars in general is always one of my favorite franchises. However, Star Wars right now, as of the moment, it's not very popular. People are absolutely hating it. They're bashing it. Not a lot of people are collecting Star Wars merchandise at the moment, and I think that you can clearly see it in how long these figures have been available. As of the moment, as I said, of the recording, all of the Black Series Walmart exclusive figures are still up for pre-order, unless I missed something or I'm looking at something wrong. But as I said, that's crazy. Back in the day, this is just not something that would happen consistently. And I'm just going to assume that it has a lot to do with the source material, the fact that most of these figures are just repackaging old releases. Another interesting thing is most of these figures, even if their original counterparts are downgrades of the newer ones, a lot of these were available at retail or under retail. I remember seeing that exact same, or maybe not the exact same one, but one of the previous versions for R2D2, the retro carded, I believe it was an anniversary edition. That one was available at my local toy show for like $10 to $15. I do remember seeing like a lot of 501 or just clone troopers, army builders in general. I know they're, different factions. There's a, 212, there's a 501, so on and so forth. But I've seen a lot of clones nowadays going for anywhere from like $15 to $25. So again, about retail, I've actually bought Count Dooku's in the past for like $10 to $12, whether it was at my local toy show or at my local comic shop. And then back in the day when they used to have a Disney store here at the mall, I was also able to pick up a Count Dooku for about retail. Cody was also very widely available. I remember him being on sale for as low as like $14 and $15. So the question here is whether these figures actually need to be repackaged or re-released. I don't think so. I think this was a really big opportunity. This is an anniversary wave. They're celebrating episode 3, and instead of actually giving it the love that it requires, they're just not doing that. Now, I'm going to assume that later down the line, we're going to get some pretty heavy hitter characters in here, but to me, this wave should have started out with absolute bangers. They should have started off with an Obi-Wan. I know that it has like multiple different looks in the film. They could have done at least 2 different looks for the episode 3 anniversary pack. Walmart exclusive. Give us a couple of Obi-Wans. Give us an Anakin, maybe even a Darth Vader, a Sidious, a new Grievous with a newer body mold, updated tech. Like, those are the figures that people are expecting, not just random army builders, more clone troopers. Are you kidding me? I think they should have started out really hot and heavy and then maybe fizzled out later in the end, because obviously you can't just give nothing but heavy hitters. You're gonna have to, sneak in some army builders here and there. But I just feel like people are really fatigued on the Black Series line right now. I feel like most people already have what it is that they want in their display. And even though that 2023 newer clone body was a massive upgrade over previous versions, I just don't think that it's worthy of people going out there and purchasing like 5 different ones with newer packaging and slightly updated tech. So it's a matter of personal perspective, but the numbers are there. The fact that these are not selling out immediately the way that they did a few years ago, I think it's a huge sign of the times. I kind of touched on it a little bit, but the 77 Spider-Man, I think, personally was an absolute joke, kind of like a backhanded release. I think this was just a reuse of an old body mold, completely outdated tech, so on and so forth. It probably sold out because maybe, I'm going to assume that not a lot of these were mass produced, but I could be wrong. Maybe there was a huge support for the Spider-Man 77 live action series action figure, and that's why it sold out. But the Ghost Spider, I think, might sit on digital store shelves for quite some time, just because it is based on something so specific, and most Marvel Legends collectors prefer either the MCU stuff or the comic book accurate stuff. The video game universe action figures don't tend to sell very well. I do remember like the Avengers video game wave actually being like at my local Ross discounted for as low as like $7 to $8. So I just question Hasbro's decision making right here. Look, I get the reveals in and of themselves are not a bad choice here. I mean, they make sense in the grand scheme of things, but when you really start to put things under a microscope, to reveal a Count Dooku and R2D2, one of these ops troopers, and then Kit Fisto, and then Cody. All of these figures, like I said, very widely available. You can go out and get them for retail or under retail, and you're just not giving the consumer anything to get excited about. I think personally, if you had started off with an Obi-Wan and an Anakin, 2-pack, or have them separately in that beautiful episode 3 packaging, I think that would have gotten people really excited. It would have gotten the buzz together, and then once you get people invested, once you got the hook in them, and you've already made them purchase like 2 to 3 of this anniversary wave, then the rest I think would just come a little bit easier. The wallets are a little bit looser and people are ready to purchase those figures. Unfortunately, you started off with Cody, who, I guess he's kind of a fan favorite. There's a little bit of a cult following, but he isn't one of the mains. And then you follow it up by giving us like another R2D2, and then, some other characters that I personally question whether we should even be getting newer versions of. But look, at the end of the day, everybody's going to make their own personal choices. Everybody's going to make their own personal purchases. I can't tell anybody what to buy. But just from what I'm seeing, I think Hasbro's in real trouble here. Their exclusive stuff should be flying off the shelves. It shouldn't be sitting on digital store shelves. They should be being able to move this stuff pretty quickly, and unfortunately that's not happening. Now, there have been some outliers recently. We had like the Target exclusive retro carded Carnage and a few other figures, but for the most part, I think that Venom was like, to me, that was the big red flag that told me that something was up. And this little convention, this little 2-day Walmart convention, it's only like highlighting more of the issues for Hasbro. I think they need to reanalyze how it is that they release some of these figures and how they're grouping them together, because honestly, these 2 days there have been a lot of Hasbro collectors that just completely tuned out of this convention. They had no real reason to tune in. Some of them probably were not Black Series collectors, or vice versa, they weren't Marvel Legends collectors, or some of them were both, but none of these offerings really got them too excited. And unfortunately, I feel like they're going to feel the consequences of this later down the road. But as I said, it's still early. It's still only like a day from the first day and then a few hours from the second day. So maybe things change. Maybe within the next couple of days, things sell out. But I think this is a good barometer. It's giving us an idea of how disconnected the community is from Hasbro. And like I said, I think this could be some signals of things to come in the foreseeable future. As I said, only time will tell what is going to happen. But I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say. Let me know down below in the comment section. Did you guys pick up any of these figures? Did you pre-order any of them? Were you excited? Were you not? Let me know down below. I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say. As always, if you guys enjoy this type of rambling content, make sure to stay tuned. We do this pretty consistently. We're uploading almost on a daily basis. I'm very hyped. I'm excited for the channel. I'm pushing as much content as I can out to you guys. But as always, I enjoy it. I enjoy putting these videos together. I thoroughly just like talking about action figures, and if you enjoy it as well, make sure to stay tuned. As always, stay safe out there. Make sure to enjoy the hobby. That's the most important part of all this, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you.